Hi, welcome back to our channel. This is Cindy Casita and it's Real Estate with Cindy. Well, today we're going to talk about the 5 scripts that it seems like in every transaction we have to kind of pull out of our archives of our brain. And I remember we started at KW that they had script practicing, and I was thinking, when am I going to use this? But you know what? It sure paid off. So be with a brokerage that practices scripts with you, because it kind of gets you on your toes so that when they ask these questions, you can go, I got it. And you don't have to hesitate with it. So the first one is always, and we haven't had it asked a lot because I being in my 50s when we started, they presume I've been doing it forever, which I hadn't. I just started in my 50s. So, but they say, how long have you been in the business? And I go, feels like forever. And they laugh and we move on. It works. But if they dig a little deeper, I grew up in a real estate family. My mom was in real estate in Atlanta. She was one of the first Atlanta women brokers up there. So I have grown up in real estate. It stops there. They never really ask, when did you take your test and what did you make on your test? So just, laugh it off, or, if you want to say 5 minutes, you can. But, you just want to show that you are a professional and you know your business. So, don't let that question worry you. Whenever we're looking at property with buyers, they always want to know, how long have they owned the house? What did they pay for it? Did somebody die? Did they get a divorce? Why do you think they're selling? They want to know all this kind of stuff. So, I generally ask the selling agent when I go to make an appointment, can you give me a reason for why they're selling? They've only owned it for X years. Why do they think they're selling? And you can get this information from either the tax appraiser's site or on our MLS we have Realist, and it tells you exactly what they paid for it, when they bought it, what kind of mortgage they have, and then it shows you anytime it changed hands, or maybe they did a quick claim deed. You can see that it was a couple, and then all of a sudden it was down to one person. And you go, okay, someone either passed away, or there was a divorce, or it went from that person to a family, to a trust. You go, okay, they're getting prepared. They may have passed away. So you kind of can get an idea of where the seller is coming from. And they want to know too, if it is a trust, how many people are on the trust that have to make the decision whether or not to sell. So you don't want, you find out that there's 3 brothers and one brother doesn't want to sell. The other 2 want to sell. You get a great offer in, and that third brother's like, no, I want more money, or I don't want to sell. So that's going to be a tough road for you as a buyer's agent to get that signed off on. And hopefully you have a good listing agent that is in the game with you and will help you get that signed off on. But this at least tells you, for some reason, buyers want to know what they paid for it and when. And if for some reason they got a great deal on it and the market has gone up a lot, they go, I don't know if I want them to make that much money. Well, you know what? Good for them for getting a good deal, and great for them that the market went up. And so you have to kind of fight that all the time. They go, well, let's go in low because I think X should be the amount of money they're going to make. And that's not for the buyer to decide, so don't go in with that kind of attitude when you do that. When you're in a transaction with the seller, you're the seller side, and there's some negotiating back and forth, and there's a cavern between the buyer and the seller's numbers. I have had it so many times, the seller go, you know what, we all need to share in the pain of this transaction, and I think you ought to kick in some of your commission. Like, wait a minute, and I've said it before, they always want to have their hand in your pocket. No. Ask them, you know what, when we did the listing together, I gave you the parameters of what I'm going to do for you on this transaction. Have I not lived up to everything I said I was going to do to help you get a contract on this? And they usually go, yeah, you did. Then, you know what, this is between you and the buyer. This does not include me on the financial part of it, and I want to be paid what I was agreed with you on at the beginning of our listing. And usually they'll back off. Sometimes, I tell you what, I did have to buy a home warranty, but it was, it was a $1 million thing, so my commission was a lot more. And so, $250 bought it. But generally, please keep their hands out of your pockets. You work hard for your money, and every person you take out does not write a contract. So you have lots of time that your output of money for photography, for gas in your car, for time is out of your pocket that you don't get replenished for. So you need to get your paycheck. So guard your paycheck best you can in a transaction. The fourth thing, and the fifth thing, is the first offer that comes in. If it comes in quick, they kind of go, you know what? Let's not take that offer, even though it's a really good offer, and let's just wait and see what else comes in. You're like, no, because I have heard so many times your first offer is kind of your best offer and kind of sets the parameters of what's going to come in. Depending on the market. Now, if it's a low ball kind of guy, investor kind of guy, you have to kind of put that one aside. That doesn't count. But if it's a family and it's an honest to God good offer and it's workable, work it until there's no breath left in that transaction. I have seen it work, that it all comes together, and I've seen where sellers have rejected it, and then along comes the one that they finally take is less than the one that they rejected. And that's another little helpful hint, is that if you are writing an offer on a place and your seller, or your buyer, wants to do a lot less than what the listing price is, ask the listing agent, have there been any offers that they rejected that they wish they had taken? And maybe they'll share that amount of money with you, and then they'll kind of go, oh, okay, that's a good number. So, just do that. Now, and I've had it happen, if the buyer wants to, you've got your number in your head and you look at the comps and you know kind of where it should be, and they want to go higher than you, make sure it's a good number, but don't work yourself out of a transaction. Go in and write up what they want. It may be ridiculous. It may be some terms that are like, ugh, but you know what? All you can do is ask, but you have to do what the buyer wants you to do. So that's 5 things that I know in just about every transaction, 2 or 3 of those things will be asked of you, and you'll be ready. Do your scripts and you'll be ready. Thank you for watching. If you're looking to be a better agent, or you're a new agent getting into the business, you might want to look at a couple of these new videos that we have that will help you on that process. I want to thank you for watching. If you liked what we're saying, please like and subscribe. Look forward to talking to you again.